All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, Episode 7.
We keep going into this mecha anime that they're making.
Yeah, giant robot. But yeah,
Right.
yes. The whole thing now seems to be coming together as a production now that they're starting to get actual teams of other people that will be handling things that they don't have specialization in. Like, that's an actual, thing that they can do now.
Yep.
Like, they can actually, give the sound design stuff off to someone that they've, coerced, specifically to have to help them there. But
no more clopping footsteps in mud.
Right. Exactly. That treadmill scene was just perfect. And also we've actually struck some measure of equilibrium, with the robot the robotics club.
Yep.
They have, I would say, a lot on their plates individually, and they each kind of need to be doing more than what's needed in order to actually get this thing done.
Yep.
But the fact that it's now something where it's not all on their plate, we're starting to see, instances where, Kanamori can be like, hey, Asakasa, you got her name right there, Asakasa, need you to really then just hard focus on these specific things. And that's tough to have to give up, stuff that you would
for your baby
want to be doing yourself. But here we go. It's now a big production, and these girls are doing it. They're doing it. Now it's just the grind, and what other things maybe are they missing? Like,
if there's going to be any
stuff,
voices, maybe?
Voice acting.
I don't know if that's something they're actually going to have, though.
Yeah, they might just choose not to for the sake of production.
Yeah.
But I could see them maybe getting, at least one.
Maybe.
But yeah, we'll see. It is a monster versus a
that is true.
Robot and stuff. But so y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
Oh yes. Night working.
Yes. Oh. Dang. What a humongous room.
Yeah.
The mirror on the other side as well. It was a cool little thing there.
Ooh. Backstory. Oh, she's so adorable.
Oh, the way it moved, yeah. Oh. That's awesome.
Try again.
Yeah, now you're cleaning that up. Yeah.
Right.
Oh. Moikai. Yeah. Oh, this is modeling.
Okay.
Oh no, this is something completely different. She's wanting to. Oh, is this when she gets fascinated by the way, the human body moves and stuff?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
wow.
That's awesome. Cool. That's awesome. Dang.
Yeah.
He did the slow.
Right.
Yeah. Oh.
And that took her a while.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
That's great.
yeah. Oh. Oh, that's so sweet. It's so wholesome. Right, the times we spent with our grandma, you know, and just like having that, those, oh.
And now to this.
Nice. She's got a sequence and everything.
That was a long time before the OP.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
Have to save myself. Easy breezy. Easy breezy. Easy breezy. Easy breezy. No, not that. Oh. I knew that was gonna happen at some point. Jeez.
Oh man.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
That's all good.
I'll stick with this one.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is my, like...
Right, we'll do it to the different direction.
Exactly. Oh, easy breezy. Easy breezy. Easy breezy. Easy breezy. Easy
Watch,
breezy.
the last 4 episodes is gonna be them making this OP.
Oh.
I mean, probably not, but...
Well, what it could be, though, is just that they end up goofing off and just making a bunch of things in their spare time, and they're like, let's find a little trailer for our studio that we can ship off to other,
Sure.
people and stuff. Whoa. Oh my god.
That's a lot.
That is a ton. Okay.
It's really all coming together.
So we need to see some animation.
Yeah. Guess there are spoken lines.
Okay.
場所の広さなんかと反響や遮断具合も書いてみないとタイミングわかんないな。でも音が間に合わなくなるからなんとかしないとね。
Wow.
誰にやってもらう？実はキャスティ
Kanamori's like, that's my job.
Already
Yep.
done.
カピット内で振動が観測されました。
怪獣です。カニ型の怪獣が出現。水を抜け。ダコダコドボボボボボボボボ。僕はキャタパルトで発進。
Yep, they want to voice it.
Yeah.
あと SE は言わなくていいっす。ここにかぶります。カット12から21の関さん、後藤さんは別撮りした方がいいっす。役者によって音量を。
Yes. Yes, definitely.
けど
Right.
ビデオコンテに合わせて練習してもらわないと絵のタイミングに合わせるのが難しい。
Right, right.
Wow.
この曲まだできてないの？できるも何も歌詞すら未だに支離滅裂だったので中止を続けてきました。
Well.
尺が減るなら我々は大助かり。水崎氏音楽は？忘れてた。聞いてみるね。フリー素材でいきましょう。
Okay.
メキシお願いし
Okay.
ます。おーすごいすごい。
Oh,
Nice.
awesome.
太陽なんですが、こっちだと西なんで夕日になっちまうんです。整合性つけたくて。
Oh.
いや、そこ気にする？
これ車はセルなんですが。
Yeah.
なんか寂しいじゃん。構図的
Uh,
セルでも動くので書いてあるとダブるんです。あ、イメージボード切り取りました。
なるほど。浅草さんのボードを
Whoa.
え、ダメなの？
いや、ここちょっとボケちゃってますし。
言われたように光が滲む感じにしてみましたよ。なかなかいいでしょ？
これはさすがにないよね。
でもさ、浅草さんこのシーン自由に描いていいって言ったよね。
でもそれはボードに合わせて組線も守ってもらえるなら。
this is why you
Yeah.
have everything done in writing.
よ
Yep.
かったら言ってください。デジタルで調整することはできるんで。
変えるの？
ちょっと全体で調整する。
修正してくれそうでまとめてもらいましょう。とりあえず
Wow, that's stressful.
だって説明するに書いた方が早いんじゃよ。
監督は指示して人に書いても
Right.
Yeah, it's in the name. Direct.
Yep.
結局自分で書き直した方が早いよね。
ああ工場の遅れの元凶は作画にあるんですよ。動画作業を担当する PC 部が手焼きです。これ以上遅れたらそのタブレットの中で止まっている。
Yeah, yeah. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Cracks in the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is tough. Wow.
Oh.
In math class.
If that gets confiscated though by the school, like. Okay.
All right.
こういう時これが便利なんです。雨がっぱ
Haha.
総員退避
Yeah, that complicates things.
Right.
温浴浴場を使って帰ります。
銭湯？私銭湯って一回も行ったことないんだ。
わしも行く
We getting a bathhouse
パ
episode.
ーキーに電話する。
ほうれん草がルールってだけですよ。連絡すれば怒られません。
へえ、うちそういうのは全然ないよ。
I mean, it makes sense. There's a storm, you know. It's just like you should come home at a specific time. Because they're kids, you know.
あら、中から来ちゃった。
ロッカーの鍵です。ここを回すと鍵が出ます。
かわいい。女、かの有名な。
Nice. Little like inverted reflection of Mount Fuji.
まず体洗って。
風呂桶と片手桶一杯ずつで全身洗う技。
ああ。風呂屋で金払って。
And the reflection of the.
Because I was like, hold on.
I'm drowning.
いい加減に仕上がれ。
Ah.
いや、ごめん、水の文字が。
汚れたけど怒られないの？
いや、うちは全然放任だよ。怒られたのは幼
Mm.
稚園の頃、車で家を動かそうとして壁壊した時と、生卵孵化させようとして腐らせた時ぐらい。
豚肉育てようとしたことはありますけど。
やらねえよ。
That's just you.
水崎氏の家はアニメはダメだけどかなり寛容なんだね。
役者になれっていうの。
あー
母親の夢叶えたい父親の笑
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay.
母親は言わないんですか？
顔。母親は完全放任だね。割とおばあちゃんっ子なんだ。
What is this menacing music?
Ah.
Dun 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 dun.
Barrier
食ってないじゃないですか。飯。
窓際がいい。おや、これ素晴らしい環境だ。
Oh, nice.
Nice. So you like grab your own food out of that and then eat as much as you want. That's cool.
うちの人が
Yeah.
行くんじゃねえですかね。
印つけてくれればよ
Oh,
かった
good point.
浴場の記録をつけよう。
Yeah, I love the imagination where they're just like, all right, and now we're back into the greatest world. Let's go.
Yep.
Jump, 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 jump. Go, 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 go.
I love that the sound effects are so clearly done by the characters.
Right, because some of them work better than others, but it's like there's that childlike feeling of when you would, you know, make your own sound effects and stuff as well.
Oh, yeah.
For the stuff that you'd be playing with. It's like everyone has a lightsaber turning on impression if they've seen Star Wars, you know.
Right.
浅草さん起きないね。
捨ておけ。
連れて浅草さん。よっこい正一。ありがとう。
Thanksies? Oh.
人間って重いんだね。
明日 浅草市の廃能もアホ
All the knickknacks that are in there for if they're ever needed.
Right.
さこのチェーンソーの動きなんだけどさフィーンつって刺しーって刺さるんじゃなくてもっとこうガリガリゴリゴリ岩とかが跳ねる感じにしたいんだけど
北前金森氏
ああ私がわかるわけないでしょうが
またそういう見る目を養うのもプロデューサーの仕事じゃないのけ
そうですね
Not necessarily well all the time.
大きく動く満足感のある画面ですしこれを完成としても何ら問題はないと思います
いいのかな
とりあえず音つけてみようか
ガオタクはさ動画を鑑賞するとき音を消してみるくらい
Ooh.
Huh.
I have heard of that. And it makes sense because, you know, our brains can only process so much, you know, external information at once.
確かにより動きが伝わりますね
こりゃ立派な技法だな
例えば金魚の尻尾がヒラヒラしてるのって綺麗じゃん桜吹雪とかもさ
アニメも動きの鑑賞っすか
その中でもアニメは一番濃厚なんだよ
いや
Wow.
全て作者
Yes, yes, yes. Yep, they brought that up.
ここが実写とは違うとこロケットってさ本体がかっこいいわけじゃなくて
かっこいいぜ
It's the explosion behind it, yeah, and the smoke. Yep, yep.
ロケットから出る大量の白煙が回転しつつ外側に広がって位置によっては煙が塊になって揺れる
ランチパッド周辺の白煙はウォーターサウンドサプレッションシステムによる放水をロケットが気化させた
Getting so much into the science of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
傾いて噴射ガスとロケットの角度が垂直じゃなくなる
傾きは大事ですな
ロケットはここがかっこいいんだってガーツに感動するわけよ分かってんじゃんあんたってさ私はそれをやりたいアニメーションを描いて
情熱は気持ち悪いですけどまあわかりました
アニメでたくさんの人を笑顔にしたいと比べたらどう
水崎氏はアニメが作りたいんじゃなくてア
Oh.
ニメーションが作りたいんすね
私前からそう言ってんじゃんチェーンソーの進行が見たくて
Oh.
死にかかってる人がいるかも
Okay.
大変な人が細部を見なくても
I
私は
do.
私を救わなきゃいけない動きの一つ一つに感動する人に私はここにいるって言わなくちゃいけないんだ
All right.
That's awesome.
That's great.
All right.
That's great.
Cool. Hmm.
There was
Oh,
something very
interesting.
satisfying about Mizusaki talking about the importance of all the little details in animation as we're seeing it with all the little details of animation.
Right. I was just realizing that this ED is something that applies really well to both Mizusaki and Asakusa.
Oh, yeah?
Hmm.
Ooh, nice.
All right.
Okay.
So we got our Mizusaki backstory here.
Yep.
Spending a lot of time with her grandma. In fact, almost all her childhood
Right.
with her grandma. And that's something that, starts to make a little bit more sense to create a better picture, if you will, as to
Right.
how she turned out.
Good pun, also. Yeah. And this was appreciated because I feel like up till now, maybe because of Asakusa's and Kanamori's history, we got a more focus on the two of them than we did for Mizusaki.
Right.
And I was kind of waiting for when this would happen, since we had still been getting like hints of her home life and things like that. But okay, that whole scene with grandma was absolutely adorable and wonderful, and it goes to show how she got to this point, because with Asakusa, gonna get it, still adjusting to pronunciating it that way. We saw where that love for animation and you know the greatest world and everything came from, and also for Kanamori, even though it was a lot more circumstantial for her. But for Mizusaki, that was something I was always kind of wondering, because she has all this talent and experience with animating, and now we can see where it comes from.
Yeah, one of the things that I feel like is a language that these characters speak that we don't is the one of specifically imagining a thing in your mind being translated out into their specific medium. Because Asakusa, with drawing specifically the reasons why something looks the way it looks, means you get into the idea of this, you know, concept art, but then also just the way the environments interact with each other, so that at any point when you look at a static image, the actual logic behind it is sound. It makes sense. What you're seeing is something that is based in something that your mind is going to subconsciously absorb and pick up. And that is based on a lot of details that a lot of people are not going to notice as seen by the art club person. They did a decent job on actually trying to make it look pretty. Yeah. But as to actually like figuring out the logic behind it, that's just not something that they're focused on. In that same aspect, Mizusaki is someone that very much appreciates the logic of the motion of the human body and the way that characters and people move and flow with regards to their environment. So therefore, whenever looking at a, you know, sequence of non-static images, she's like, I'm going to be noticing specifically the little details that build the logic in your mind, so you're not pulled out of the, you know, the wonder and the wonder and creativity of the actual animation. And that's just fun, because both of these angles are something I don't have that kind of a translator for. Like I don't think most people, I don't think 1 in 10 people have that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And that's something that I always kind of wondered about with something like, say, making anime.
Yeah.
Because the part that excites me is the story, right? And I know that the animation is an important part of that, but considering how much time and effort needs to be put in to the animation, it never really like made sense to me how someone could be so like, I mean, I knew that there would be people out there that would be incredibly passionate about animation, but I feel like we got a good look into that with Mizusaki here. And, you know, of course, this is very much made by the people who do this stuff. So, you know, it was, that's not just an arbitrary thing, right? I'm guessing things like the revving of the chainsaw and the chewing of the teeth on the ground, that's probably something that they specifically were like, yep, I've had that. Like, I've had that feeling, or the watching the like fluid flow through the air.
Yeah. So an example of this is I have a friend who's very much into animation, and he has basically fascination regarding fluids and water. So when the tea throwing bit happened, I was like, oh, okay. So this is where it started for her. Right. And basically there's whole like groups of people that are very like, I would say specialized specifically in the 3D environment side of things with regards to making water look like water. And I remember growing up when they started basically shifting away from, at least in the traditional kind of stuff that I was watching, towards 3D in animation for the water, and it looked good.
Yeah.
And I remember how bad water used to look just in general in the mainstream animated kind of stuff. And then as it started getting more and more into the 3D stuff in a way that people were more competent or they were just more familiar with the software that they were using, it just looked really good. But it's crazy to think that in anime, for the most part, where everything is, you know, still 2D, water... I don't even know, like, I don't even know how, what's his name?
Oh, yeah. Frick. Yeah, I'm spacing on his name. Your name and Garden of Words and
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The god of water, basically.
Right. If you haven't seen, like, well, also Weathering with You now, too.
Oh,
if
that's
you haven't
true.
seen Weathering with You or Garden of Words, both of those do an amazing job of just showing how gorgeously water can be animated.
Yeah,
it's
insane.
It's pretty ridiculous.
And I think what I get now is that when I looked at those movies, I would go, wow, the water looks gorgeous. But now when I look at it, I'm going to be seeing someone's energy and creativity and passion going to that, saying, I slaved to make that bit of, you know, 2 seconds there.
Shinkai, that's his name.
Makoto Shinkai. That's right, yeah. To make that just work like perfectly. And I remember a point where I was in a studio too, and they mentioned the whole thing of sometimes animation nerds will just have animation playing without the sound. And I was like, wait a minute, I've seen that before.
Oh, yeah?
And I was in a place basically where there was someone that had like 4, you know, PC monitors up, you know. And the 2s on the border there each had 4x4 things within their screens of just different anime and different animation things going. No sound, no nothing, just constantly going.
Wow.
And it's just one of those things where I was like, oh my God.
They really like this stuff.
They really like this stuff. And that's something that's so fascinating to think about, that like for everyone out there that gets fascinated about the characters and stuff, know that there's someone that's making the miracle of anime actually be somewhat remotely possible because they got really excited by how tea was thrown, you know, across porch. I don't know. That's just really cool.
I love this show because the way it, like, okay, passion in stories is wonderful. Passion in general is wonderful, right? And this is passion about things, even if it's not specifically something that I'm passionate about, it's very closely related to the thing that I'm passionate about, right? You know, I may not be an animator, but I can appreciate anime, so all the extra appreciation that I can get for the things that go into making an anime happen, it's wonderful.
Yeah. There were a lot of funny moments in this episode, but one of my favorite ones is Asakusa noticing how Mizusaki is talking about her passion and, you know, kind of always talking about it's kind of creepy, but, you know, saying like, I want to make anime that makes people smile. And in the background, you see Asakusa just like, just like, aha, yes, my imagination is very stimulated by this. And then the other part being that they had the little moments where they were having the little water fight in the bathhouse. Yeah. But it's just how quickly they can shift into, let's imagine our greatest world, and what it'll look like and the stuff in it. And I don't know. I feel like that's something where what I want to. I don't know if this is something that's extrapolated or just a wild assumption, but there's this aspect of being a child where you are overemphasizing a very specific detail of a thing that a lot of people just aren't going to notice or care about because it's probably something silly. But, you know, with regards to what they're doing, they are overemphasizing, from Kanamori's perspective, a thing that isn't silly, but it's something that they're extremely passionate about, to the point that it is almost a detriment to their production, you know, in their work. So I wonder if there's something extra to be had with the reason why these characters are kids, not just because this is an anime where, you know, teenage girls are gonna get the marketing stuff across a lot better. I don't know. I think there's something fun with that they constantly remind us that these are kids.
Yeah.
And they're having their fun with their thing. And yes, Kanamori does kind of feel like the mom, the adult of the group every once in a while.
The responsible one that has to keep them on task. Yeah.
Right. But what I liked here is that in the story perspective, Kanamori takes so much effort, more than what I would expect actually, towards the latter third of the episode to try and understand why this means so much to Mizusaki.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to in the beginning half of the episode, where it's like, "Hey, chop, let's work," because that was what
behind schedule.
That was what the first half of the episode was. Is we're behind schedule.
Yep.
We're having complications with the other people that we're working with.
Right.
Like every single group that they're working with, they're having complications.
Oh man,
the sound crew is what I was gonna say, but the
Guru.
sound guru, yes,
Yeah.
literally the only one that's not having like absurd problems,
right? And even then,
it's just the music that they have to figure out. But it's not that they're having a problem with it. It's just like, okay, we're not doing an opening, but we need you to assemble a bunch of free music that we can use to put in at specific bits. And she's like, he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, This show makes me just want to create, and at the same time, I love that it shows the pains and the struggles that they have to go through with the actual creation of something. You know, whether it's harping on the details of a bit of animation that probably no one's going to notice, especially once you add sound to it. You know, because I haven't seen that with animation, but like, you know, in what little I have dabbled in with art and like commissioning artists and things like that, the zooming in way too far into a piece and working on some little bit of detail that when you zoom out you absolutely can't see it at all. Like, I am familiar enough with that in order to kind of, I feel like, get this whole situation here. But then with like the art club where it's, oh no, we made stuff, it looks real pretty, right? This is good, right? Oh,
directly contradictory to what she asked for.
Right. Directly contradictory to what was asked for in some cases, and then in other cases, it's just this doesn't work, right? And it's the, okay, this is why you need like progress, updates, and this is why you need like everything to be done in writing. That way you can go back and say, no, look, this is what was said here.
Because I love that we once we saw the way the art thing was going, we're like, this is going to end horribly.
Yeah,
this can't work.
And the tough thing is that you would hope that that the people that you're working with would be kind of like, well, professional about it, right? They're
in high school.
Well, so, they're in high school, but the thing is that also does continue, like into some situations where you would hope that it wouldn't be an issue anymore.
Right. These might be like 15-year-olds, but you could be like interacting with 35-year-olds
exactly.
and sometimes get the exact same kind of level of unprofessionality.
Yeah, because
and this is
because the whole reason that it's happening in high school is because there hasn't been something that nipped it in the bud earlier, and if nothing happens to make the person realize that that's a problem and that they need to change that, then it'll probably continue into the future. But thankfully, there's the other girl, I forget her name, who is also in the art group that is helping to make sure that everything actually gets done and things like that, even though there's the whole question of, I mean, we could try and explain to them how to do it right, or we could just do it ourselves because that'd be faster, right? I've done like both of us. We've done that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's its own thing. It is a skill to be a director,
right,
and to delegate specific, exact, I would say, instructions and goals and tasks to people in a way that they can clearly understand and receive and then act upon. I would say there's too much emphasis put on, specifically as a director, being someone that's more of an overseer, where they're looking over the shoulder and checking to make sure something gets done, because their communication style and how they originally sent the task out is so flawed that they need to actually do that, which is, that's that's something that you can work on,
right? And then trust but verify, because
well that's part of the task. That's part of the original thing is you have to then come back to me and say, hey, here's where I am at this stage. I finished the line art. All right, cool. I'm going to make sure that you got the match lines done. All right, you did that. That's great. Okay, now we're going to get into the second layer. Okay, so there's going to be 5 steps at which you'll check back with me or something like that. Like that's very much something that when I commissioned some graphic stuff, the person that I did it with, super professional and stuff, and they asked me after they showed the 4 times that they would be checking back, they're like, are there any other points in the process that you want to be updated on? And there was one more that I was like, oh, you didn't mention this. And they're like, oh yeah, that's actually a part that blends in pretty much with this process. So I usually don't put it on there, but I totally can for you. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And they're like, okay, cool. And it was just a much smoother experience. Because of them basically doing the directing job for me.
Right, which, especially if you're like independent contractor kind of a thing, right? You kind of get used to that and what's needed and things like that. Because it also makes your job easier.
Time,
Right, because like, oh man, the whole thing of them adding the car onto there, because it's like, oh, what? It's no big deal. It felt weird without it.
It was literally like the one thing that she was like, don't do this. This is Excel.
God. Like, and because there, especially if you like bring the project to what you believe to be completion.
Right.
And something fundamentally needs to be changed. Not like, can you add more color here, but like this needs to be removed.
Yeah.
That can get complicated and messy.
Oh, and in multiple ways.
Yeah. So it was just, oh man, I felt so much pain at that. Yeah. Like where it's like, no. And it was literally said, and that's the thing. A lot of the times, even if it's in writing, even if you spell it out and you're like, this is what I need.
They'll still ignore it. And then that's why you need also in writing the underneath contract, if you ever break, forms of contract or what have you, you are required to continue working on this for no extra pay until it is within contract.
Yeah.
Because I've seen and heard of instances where someone will be like debating over whether something was written a specific way, and then they look at the contract and they're like, oh, it was written that way. Well, too bad for you. I'm done. The commission's over. Here's your unfinished work. Bye. And because you already gave them the money and stuff.
Right.
And that's a whole nother thing as well. But thankfully it didn't come to that, because they're pretty generous people in this regard on both sides, in that it's like, hey, yeah, I get it, I need you to do this, and then the other girl was like, yeah, okay, we can fix it in digital stuff. It's like, we'll come back, But hey, this is really cool to see the 3 of them learning through this process here.
Yep.
Figuring out how their roles allow them to push and pull on each other's, dynamic relationships with the project. So, hey, there you go. It's tough. I also loved it a little bit with Mizusaki being like, she doesn't actually want to make anime. She wants to make animation.
Yeah.
This was something that I feel like would be a thing that would be easy to misconstrue and to confuse here. And I think what they're getting at here is that the act of making anime is meaning, something that's actually going to be the full project.
Right.
It's not about separating about anime and animation as if they're, completely different things, because definition-wise, anime just means animation.
But less the story and the characters and things like that.
Less all the other things, and just
the motion itself.
Yeah, she just wants to be working on the motion of the things that are going to move in whatever it is. So all that is meaningless to her comparatively to how the actual movement is.
Exactly.
And that's something that is fun, because then you see the artist and less the engineer from Asakusa. What I think is rather fun about that is that Asakusa is very much, I would say, more the engineer, in that she is trying to prove how these things, like why they should look a certain way. And Mizusaki is like, I want someone to see this little bit of motion here and smile. I want to move someone.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes, literally and figuratively, exactly. And I just thought that was a really cool distinction because I think early on in the discussion I was almost thinking about them as being very similar in that they kind of speak the same language, but there is a little bit of important difference to be had. And I'm not saying there's no crossover by one being the artist and one being the engineer, but in the way their thought process seems to work behind it, it is actually quite different when you get down to it.
It feels very complimentary to me, while at the same time there being enough similarity that they can connect over it.
Gotcha. Yeah. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yep. Wrote a sci-fi novel called Battle Lines. If you're interested in checking it out, it's on Amazon. The link is in the description down below.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.